Hi there. Good evening, everybody. Want to welcome you all here on Saturday night to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. So we're here with an episode of What's New. Do this every week, every Saturday night. We get a new album that's come out this year. Everything but prog for this channel for this particular episode. So the band I've chosen tonight is called Bullet, and the album is called Kickstarter. You can recognize it by having the leg of a guy standing over a Kickstarter on a motorcycle. Pretty solid album, I think. Definitely will bring out the AC/DC and those guys who like that Brian Johnson AC/DC sound. You're going to love this album. For those of you who don't like carbon copy bands that do the complete imitation of other bands, you won't like this album. So you've been warned. So this album was released January the 9th, 2026. It's about 39 minutes in length on the Steamhammer record label. The band includes Hell Hoffner on vocals, Gustav, I'm gonna brutalize this name a bit, but I think it's called Jorts Joe on drums, Gustav Hector on bass, Hampus Klang on guitars, and Freddie Johnson on guitars as well. So basically, overall, this has a very Brian Johnson era type sound to it. The guy's vocals may be harsher than Johnson, if you can believe that. A lot of distortion in his voice, and the raspiness is just off the charts. The guitars, for the most part, are fast-paced, very simplistic guitar sounds. Definitely have that AC/DC later, the Brian Johnson era AC/DC thing down to a science. I think this album is probably harsher or heavier than their stuff, bordering on metal. Got that kind of 80-ish sound, hard rock metal sound, but definitely I think it definitely borders on that metal sound. Overall, it's okay. There's no bad songs on the album, and there's no really great songs on the album. It's pretty streamlined. Most of the songs are fairly simple. It's a typical AC/DC like track album in that it's just a carbon copy as we go along each album, and this one definitely would fit into that mode, no problem. So the opening track is called Kickstarter. And the other thing about this album, all the songs are between 2 and 3 minutes, except for I think the last track is over 4 minutes. So the opening track is the title, Kickstarter. Very heavy melodic guitar riffing is what you're going to get on this track and almost all the tracks. The vocals are similar, of course, to Brian Johnson, harsh, distorted, heavy, raspy. The guitars continue with this nice grinding sound with a guitar riff on top of that as well. And then you have the slow-mo guitar solo type thing that you would get on a lot of AC/DC tracks, and the motorcycle starting at the end sounds good. So next track up, Caught in the Action, pretty much the same here. This one's faster paced though. The riffing is faster paced. This one sounds very reminiscent of AC/DC, probably more than the opening track. Solo is very Angus Young-like for sure, and the vocals are harsh, heavy, up-tempo. Next song, Open Fire, heavy, slow, melodic riff, very beefy guitar sound. The riff is melodic, the vocals very harsh, loud, distorted, as you will get on almost all the tracks, and catchy, hard rock riff here. Keep Rolling is the next track up. Slow, melodic, heavy riffing. The vocals are scratchy, heavy, harsh, and raspy. Nothing different. So Hit the Road, catchy, broken guitar riff. So it's not as melodically continuous. It breaks into little bits like you might get in some of that original AC/DC sound with the Bon Scott stuff going on. The vocals again are harsh, distorted, very Johnson-like. But this one has some backing vocals on it, which are clearer, stronger. They don't have as much distortion, and they're very heavy. The the guitar solo is again typical of that type of music. Next track up is the Avenger, fast-paced guitar riff. Yeah, pretty much the same as the previous song. The scream is a little bit more powerful on this one. Chained by Metal, this is a heavy hat-paced track. This is a very metal sounding. This is probably the most metal sounding of all the tracks, in my opinion. The vocals are extremely high, distorted. You got a nice guitar solo, very distorted, very metal-like. Okay, next up we have Spitfire, another catchy rock-like. This one's a little bit more rock and roll-like than some of the other tracks. It's still got that metal sound, but it sounds like something that's maybe a little bit too much for the 50s, but definitely fits in there. The vocals are extremely harsh on this one, and the backing vocals are very clear, easier to understand. I think they did that on purpose, probably to give his vocals more of that harsh sound to it. Next is Full Throttle. This is a heavy melodic guitar opening, picky-like guitar here. Typical vocals for this album. The track has a thunderstruck feel to it. Then you got Strike by Night, melodic, heavy guitar part. Second guitar is also pretty heavy with a continuous broken riff on it, and then you have a nice solo that's very heavy, fast-paced song. Vocals again typical. Nightfall down, melodic, slow, heavy, bluesy track. Very Hell's Bells like, I think. It gives me that. It's got that same kind of pace and that kind of guitar sound that Hell's Bells has. Definitely has that feel to it. The vocals again harsh, raspy, distorted, and it's a slower part. Pretty catchy riff though. Overall, the album is pretty strong. If you like that Brian Johnson era AC/DC, this is right in your wheelhouse. You're going to love this album. I like it. I thought the vocals maybe a little bit too distorted and too harsh. Very difficult to understand what he's saying. At least with Brian Johnson, there was after a while you could pick it out. This I think you're going to have difficulty with. But overall, pretty strong album. I think it passes. I think it'll do well here on this What's New list for the year. Could make my top 25. It's hard to know at this stage of the game, still very early. But I think it's a good album, so I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Get a chance to listen to the album. You can find it on Bandcamp. It's actually all over the place. It's pretty easy to find. Just punch in Kickstarter from the band, which is, I already forgot, Bullet. Sorry, I was thinking something else. So yeah, if you want, you can find this under Bullet Kickstarter. You'll get opportunities to listen to it under a host of different types of sites. But the one I prefer is Bandcamp. I think I get a little bit more of a choice of how do I listen to it. So that's where I listen to it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to make any comments about Bullet or about the album Kickstarter or about something other or something related to AC/DC or anything that you want to talk about related to the album, you can do that in the comment section below. We will be back next week with another episode of What's New. Take care. Have yourself a good one.